Welcome to episode 6 of
Sold Sistas Podcast. I'm your girl Latrice.
I am Future.
And I'm Cairo.
Latrice, what will we be talking about today?
Today, we are giving nuggets. Today, we are talking about how to make $100,000 as a realtor year one. Yes.
6 figures.
Your first year in real estate.
It can be done.
It can be done.
Who did it? Cairo did it.
I came close.
You did good.
Year one.
Yep, you did
Came
good.
close year one.
So it's definitely
Yeah,
doable.
my first full year.
Yep.
Well,
Let's kick it off.
Let's get her.
all right. So there are quite a few different things that you need to implement into your business to make 6 figures your first year or maybe your second year, whatever tickles your fancy. One of the first things that we need to implement in our business is time blocking. I'll let Future talk about that.
No. The first thing that you need to do is meet with a brokerage that is going to make sense for you. A brokerage where you'll have a mentor or your broker is going to hold you accountable because this is going to be new for you. So you need somebody who's going to help lead you and guide you into making that 6 figures.
Absolutely. Being aligned with winners, with real producers is the most important thing. I'd say I have to give, credit where it's due. I definitely think that being aligned with Future before she had her team and everything really encouraged me.
I've always been a winner.
To shout out to you. Encouraged me to keep pushing on top of the fact that I had really great clients coming out the gate. She made me the realtor that I am. So I have to give that credit. Like, you got to be aligned with someone who's going to encourage you to make that money. When I was thinking about switching over to a different brokerage, she really challenged me to think about the business of all the agents that were there and kind of like how they were cultivating their brand and their business. And I was like, okay, you know what? You're right. Like, I still need some help. I need some shaping to make sure that my business is ideal. So you got to make sure, like, wherever you go, it's where you want to see your business the way that you see it being like carried out at that brokerage. I think I was trying to say it in the nicest way I could.
Yeah, I know we get what you're saying.
Okay.
You want to have people that represent what you want your business to look like, where you're going. And you want to be around people who are not just going to offer you training. Mm-hmm. Training is important. It will help you on your journey, but you need someone who's going to give you the game of being a realtor. And that's how to write winning offers, how to handle your clients. The paperwork is just a part of it. We pretty much have, a fill in the blank situation. It's about what you put into those blanks that will make or break you as a realtor, how you handle your clients that will make or break you as a realtor. So you need somebody who's not just going to tell you what you want to hear, but they're going to keep it real with you and be honest with you and hold you accountable when you're not taking care of your business.
So, number 1, we said aligning yourself with the right brokerage and the right collaboration or team.
Absolutely.
So can we say number 2, or maybe even a tie number 1, consistency?
Oh yeah,
consistency is number 2.
Comes right after.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we would say consistency is key. Once you figure out what it is that you're going to do in your day-to-day operations, you have to treat real estate like a job, like your job. Oftentimes I feel like we put a lot of effort into working for somebody else. Like, oh, I have to work this. I can't stop until I do this. I can't stop doing X, Y, and Z until, whatever task is complete. But then we don't implement the same thing into our own business. So consistency, I would say, is definitely something that's very important.
Yeah, consistency is key. A lot of times people get into this industry because they feel like they're about to have like a certain level of freedom. You have the freedom to where if your child has a game that you want to make it to, or you want to go on a vacation, you don't have a boss, but you have to be self-motivated, because even if you join a team or a brokerage where you are being held accountable, we are still all adults. So you have to make the decision to wake up and work your business, like Latrice said, like a job. You have to have a schedule. You have to follow that schedule. And you really have to do a lot of the same things every day, especially when you're starting off in this industry, to be a successful realtor. So if you do not like repetition, this is probably not the industry for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, moving on from that, something my mentor just told me in a coaching session is effort. Effort correlates to your success. So would y'all say that would be like number 3?
I think effort and consistency go hand in hand.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And I do have to give credit where it's due. I see a lot of the newer and younger agents in the industry giving a lot of consistency and effort when it comes to their social media. Like that's something that is taking off, especially in Metro Detroit, like the home tours and things like that. I see the consistency. I've seen it on our team where I've seen like people's following grow, at a very large rate. So just consistency and picking something and putting that effort in, like you get results. Whatever you continuously do, you're gonna get the results. So I think it's just about like finding your lane.
It's crazy because I've seen even like my nephews, like being in high school and even like 8th grade, they'll say, "Oh, do you know this person, auntie?" And it'll be a realtor from the Elevated Collective.
Period.
And I'm like,
Period.
what are you doing watching these videos? And they're like,
cool.
I want my mama to buy this house. So the consistency, it's crazy because even if people aren't liking your posts, they're still
seeing
watching.
them.
That's right. They still
So you
see
have
them.
to stay consistent. And you can't get discouraged
Yeah.
because you don't have the likes or you don't have the engagement that you want because
You gotta
people
find
are
your
still
lane.
watching.
You definitely have to find your lane. And I'm gonna touch on effort. I get what she was saying. Like they definitely go hand in hand, but I've had to have this conversation with people on my team. Make sure I've had this conversation with myself early on. Don't get in the habit of doing something just to say it got done. You have to make sure that you are working to be productive and you are not just trying to stay busy, because it's 1,000,001 things you can find to do as a realtor, but you have to make sure that you are putting forth that effort and that you are working to the best of your ability and you are using the resources that you have. You are making the phone calls and trying to have the real conversations, and you're not just filling your schedule with busy work, because that's not going to make you money.
I think it's a saying. I can't remember what it was, but it's something like, "Are you being busy or busy in the business?" or something like that. Like it's a
Are
difference.
you in the business? Are you working on your business? Or are you in the business? I think
Right.
something like that.
Yeah.
So, absolutely.
So another thing that's very important about real estate or being successful in real estate is lead generation.
Yeah.
Y'all want to tap into that?
Go ahead, Future.
Oh,
Go ahead.
you have like that. My daughter is a realtor and she's a realtor fresh out of high school. So not college like Cairo, where she has some level of maturity. She's graduating fresh out of high school. She graduated last year and she has jumped into this real estate industry. She has been closing deals, but it's just the conversation of what your job really is as a realtor. Showing homes is a part of the job of being a realtor. The real job of a realtor is that prospecting. It is the lead generation, because once you get somebody under contract, you show enough houses, somebody's going to pick one. But if you are not prospecting, once they pick a house and you have gotten all your clients under contract, where's the money going to come from? We're in sales, it's a numbers game. So if you are not lead generating and you are not prospecting, that's your well is going to run dry and you're not going to make any money. That is like numero uno.
Yeah, real estate is not for the weak. It's not for the lazy. It's not, like you said, you get a little bit of free time, but it comes at a cost. Like you have to always be hustling, for lack of better terms. I hate to say hustle because it's your career, it's your job. But you always have to have more balls in the air. Like that's the goal. You can't get comfortable like, oh, okay, I got 4 closings. What about next month?
And then this is an industry too where you spend money too. So I think sometimes people think, oh, I got this much coming in, but are you calculating how much you have going out? Like it's a real conversation to sit down with somebody and literally go over this. These are my monthly expenses. This is what's coming in. Like how much do you really have left over when it's all said and done? Because if you don't have a lot left over, you may need to make some changes.
Yeah, that's the truth. Because even with me being a team lead and me trying to be a responsible adult, and looking at my finances and what I'm paying for the office space, the leads, the transaction coordinator, and just
team events,
we have very, very nice team events, but the team events, like, all of that stuff costs money. You definitely have to make sure that the money is making sense.
Okay. So I'm just gonna keep going with a couple of other things that I know help make successful agents. What about effectively using your CRM?
Oh man, your database is your data bank. I know it sounds so cliche, but it is the truth. And I'm gonna give a little story on how I finally was broken down into using because I had to be broken into it, because I was just like, I made $150,000 with a pen and a piece of paper, just a pen and a notebook, scratching off names going back. But during that time, I had one of my best months, and I am still grateful. It was one of my best months at that time. Made $53,000 as an individual agent. But during in 1 month,
get it?
I made $53,000 in 1 month as an individual agent. I didn't have a buyer's agent. I was working. But during that month, when I closed all those deals, I lost 4 deals. It was a guy who called me looking for a lease, and I always try to convert my leases. Forgot to call him back because I was busy. A lady who I had worked with named Angie tried to reach out to me. I was not working my CRM. She shouldn't have been reaching out to me. I should have been reaching out to her. She could not find my information. So she sold a house and bought another house. And then there was another guy who reached out to me who ended up purchasing another home. That third situation broke me down. Like, okay, I cannot keep track of everything that I'm doing with a pen and a notebook. So I have to put that CRM to use. And I've been pressing that on, I've been holding my team to that, making sure they're putting people in their CRM. And I have one young lady in particular on my team. She came over last year, and she did well before she got over on the team, but she's been kicking butt. And one of the things that she says has helped her, she just got a client like the day before yesterday. One of the things that she said helped her was her CRM. It has taken her to the next level. Her having a CRM, sending out the newsletters, sending out the emails, sending out the weekly blast. It's a way for you to touch your clients and your potential clients.
For sure.
Okay. So another thing that I think is critical is understanding your sphere. So using your sphere of influence. Oftentimes, out of sight is out of mind. So you have to communicate with people that you know and let them know that you are a realtor. Because if they don't see you posting and they get in a situation where a coworker, it's been plenty of times I have cousins that work at the plant and they're like, oh, you looking to buy a house? My cousin can help you.
Right.
And I've gotten leads off of that. But if I hadn't been in their ear talking about real estate, they wouldn't know to mention me. And then that person would just figure it out. They would find somebody else. I mean, you can Google and find a realtor.
It doesn't take any time for someone to forget you sell real estate. Like, you always have to be consistent. For me, I took a couple months off this year. I haven't been posting. Just because I was, transitioning into my secondary career and just taking some time. And literally people have been like, oh my God, you still sell real estate? I'm like, oh my gosh, y'all, like, I just had some closings, and you have to be consistently in front of people's face. Like, I am still very much so a full-time active agent, but I took some time off, and I knew that would likely affect my business, but I was okay because I needed to take that time for myself. But to your point, like, if you're not posting, you're not doing nothing. I hate to say it in this day and age. I could be selling more stuff being quiet than another person who's posting every single day, but what's in front of someone's face is what's their reality. And so
remember the conversation we had when you when you thought about switching over to the other brokerage, and we put those numbers together, and it's like, that's what humbled me as far as like, all right, Future, you have to come up with the time. You have to come up to the times, and you actually have to utilize your social media, because if you're not posting, it's not real life. Perception is reality. When Cairo looked at the numbers don't lie. It was just like the person who was trying to recruit her. She does a very good job with her social media. I'm sure she has other things going on, but when it came to like the business, it wasn't the same.
And that's another thing too. Like, a lot of realtors, especially newer realtors, they fake it till they make it.
Yeah.
Come on.
I've had realtors try to recruit me and say like, oh yeah, I'm making this and I'm making that. And then I look at the numbers and I'm like, I sell more real estate than you.
Which is weird.
But
don't be out here lying, y'all.
But on social media, they're very consistent.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm working on with my business, is just being more consistent. To me, social media is a full-time job. So
it is.
I'm just trying to do more posting with my closings and stuff like that. I have a ton of content in my phone that I have hours and hours of content in my phone. I have not posted, have not done anything with. So that's something I'm going to work on.
We got to do better.
Yeah. But this is that day and age and era. I know a lot of realtors that don't even want to touch social media at all. And I'm like, you're sleeping.
Yeah,
like, if you don't use social media.
The in-between. It's like
right.
There's an excessive
on our team that are like on it, and then there's us, and then there's people who like, I ain't got time for that.
Right.
So it's like kind of we're in the middle, but we'll be up there with the people.
And then with me, with my social media, I had to tone it down as I got more professional as I stepped into, because I'm a around the way girl. When I stepped into this role and of a leader and having businesses, it's like, okay, Future, you know, and I had to mature as well, because I've gotten older since I was in my mid 20s when I got my license, but it didn't, you know, social media just wasn't as fun. When you have to censor yourself, it's not as fun, but it's necessary. Everybody is looking down at their phone at all times. A lot of the girlies on my team make good money from social media, close multiple deals from social media. Me, myself, without me being consistent, I still make money off social media.
Okay, so something else that's important in real estate is collecting people and nurturing people. So once you establish relationships, you want to make sure you're nurturing them. We talk about that a lot on here because it's important. Another thing that's very important in real estate to be successful is to follow up.
Yes.
They say 80% of the business is lost in follow up. You'll hear us talk about that a lot too. Do we need to elaborate on that, or do we talk about that
it was
enough?
a great example. Like Future said, she lost out on some clients because she didn't follow up.
Right.
That's really it. Every realtor that is on our team, everyone that I've always talked to, it is difficult when you first get in the business to continuously follow up, but that's how you make your money. That's your bread and butter. And then that creates that consistency and that trust for people to continue to refer you, because they know when they refer you to somebody, you're going to follow up with them. So, you know,
I talked to a lot of clients that say they were working with somebody else and they never followed up. They never called them back. They never took them out. So thank you guys.
But the saying is, the money is in the follow-up. That's just like, that's a real saying. The money is in the follow-up.
Okay. And then it's a numbers game.
It's a numbers game. The more conversations you have, the bigger the possibility or the potential for you to have clients. So it's a numbers game. The more conversations you have, the larger the probability of getting those people to work with you. When you are going out to the grocery store, when you're at the bank, now that you are a realtor, you are a walking billboard. You have to make sure that you are having conversations and that you are, you know, collecting information and giving out your information. Always try to collect their information so you can control the interaction.
Yes, because people are afraid or shy to reach out. So a lot of times people say, oh, I refer such and such. What's their information? Let me reach out to them.
Right.
Similar to Destiny, Future's daughter, I came in, hadn't had any like real work experience. I came straight out of college into real estate. And one of the things that I've learned is being able to take constructive criticism from your mentors, your team leads, your broker, whomever it is. So that you can, you know, grow your business. Not everything everyone says to you is not always something that you need to pursue. And you have to have your own style and how you sell real estate, because how Future does it, how I do it, and Latrice, we're all different. We all bring something unique to the table. And that's why our clients continue to come back to us. However, you have to be able to like mold and take that criticism, because you don't know what you're doing when you first start out in this industry. And there's no need to reinvent the wheel. Like, likely what someone is telling you is because they failed at something and they're telling you, hey, like, it's an easier way to do this, or you're not communicating the right way, or, you know, like something like that. So you just have to be open and willing to receive. Like, you kind of got to be a sponge that first year, like taking in whatever you can, and then, you know, using whatever you can, and then kind of getting rid of whatever you don't necessarily need.
Heavy on the making sure that you are authentically you. You know, we are not recreating the wheel. There are principles to making money, like the following up, having the CRM, nurturing your leads, following up, meeting people and having the conversations, but you have to do it in your own way, because, you know, that's what's going to give you the greatest success in this industry, is making sure that you are authentically you.
So in addition to what they were saying, you also have to accept constructive criticism from your clients too.
Yes.
Because I think oftentimes people are so set in their ways that your client can say this, you know, you're missing what I'm trying to get, or, hey, I only want to look at this type of property, or whatever the case may be. I think a lot of realtors sometimes they just kind of copy and paste, you know, and every client isn't the same. You can't have the same approach with everybody. So you have to ask people, what are your expectations for me?
That's right.
You know, what do you want from me? What do you want from this relationship, so that I can give you what it is that you need?
And likely your hardest clients, or like the ones that you feel like are tripping, are really the clients that are making you a better realtor.
Yes.
Like the ones who challenge you to really step up your systems or prove. And I hate to say it that way, but sometimes, like especially if you're a newer agent, if you're at a big ticket price point, sometimes people want you to prove that you have value. So I had to learn early, like, don't take that personal. This is an opportunity, one, for you to grow and for you to show people why you deserve, one, that commission, but to be, an agent at that price point. So you have to level up. When it's time, it might come with a different expectation.
That's true.
So back to another point that we briefly touched on, but we didn't really get into detail, time blocking.
Yeah.
That's something that I struggle with, but Future is always on my head about, hey, are you structuring your day? Like, are you being intentional, with your business?
I'm going to touch on two things. Make sure you educate yourself as a realtor. If you have a great mentor, or you have a great team lead, you have a great broker, you still want to make sure that you are doing the work so you can stay abreast of what's going on in the industry. You can make sure that you are constantly evolving with the industry. And with that, you'll come across certain books. 2 books that I would tell any new agent to get is Ninja Selling. That's number 1. That's going to help you with your prospecting and give you ideas on how you need to be prospecting. And the 12-week year. The 12-week year was introduced to me by another realtor named Sabrina in Florida. Shout out to Sabrina. And I was struggling a little bit. Not so much with my business, but with my time, because my husband had got a job out of state. So I was going back and forth out of town. I was averaging maybe $20,000, $25,000 a month. And I had one of the worst months I had in a long time. I made $2,700. And I was like, what the hell is going on? I started reading listening to the 12-week year and reading at the same time. And that next month, just time blocking. And people have been telling me to time block.
Yeah,
they had. I'm gonna be honest, and I started with like no, and it was just all over the place. And I started with my notebook and pencil, my pen, and would just write everything out and go through and scratch it off my list. But time blocking changed the game for me. That next month of me time blocking, I went from making $2,700 to $27,000. And it was just based on me being intentional with my time. Like we said, not just being busy, but being productive, making sure that I knew how my time was accounted for. You have to time block, treating your business like a business and not like a hustle. That's where that business comes into place. You work and you are going to be on your hustle bustle stuff, especially when you first get into this industry. But you have to treat your business like a business, and that comes with time blocking and having a schedule and having systems in place. So heavy on the time blocking.
I think it's also important to have accountability partners. Like when I first started, Future was just kind of like checking in. What you got going on? Who you talking to? What's going on with these clients? etc. So I think establishing an accountability partner is important. And also getting a real estate planner, a quarterly planner, changed my business. Like I tell all of my mentees, this is the planner you need to order, or you need to order one of the 3, to make sure that you are not just getting a big old binder for the year.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Like this is my goal for this quarter.
Right.
Be intentional and then break those goals down. What does it take for me to get to that? So that's huge. And then once I think you have all of that kind of figured out, then you can start working on building systems.
Yes.
I think that that's something that is important as well, but probably not as important as the other things that we mentioned. I think that's something that's like once you elevate,
you
in
really
your career.
Just have to stay encouraged. That first year in real estate, it looks different for everyone.
Yes.
So I would just say stay encouraged. Everyone doesn't talk about their failures. You know what I'm saying? Like we are pretty transparent here, but it's ebbs and flows in real estate. So you just have to stay encouraged and do what you do best, and which is be you and give great service.
That's right. And you can manage those ebbs and flows to a certain extent. And that's by doing the things that you are supposed to do as a realtor. So if I could end this podcast with anything, it would be to pick a brokerage that is going to serve you. Do not be afraid to change or to leave and go somewhere else if it does not work for you. After you get a brokerage where you feel like it is home, you want to immediately start working on planning out your day and being consistent, sticking to the plan. Even if you veer off, make sure you get back on track, educating yourself. tapping in with your spirit and having the conversations and utilizing your social media and managing your online presence.
And surround yourself with winners. You want to, if you want to be successful, you want to work with people that are successful. It's one thing to work with people that say, oh yeah, you can do this and you can do that. But if they aren't doing it and they aren't setting an example, it's hard for you to learn from them.
Yeah. Get around some people that's going to tell you what worked for them and what didn't work for them. Cairo spoke on it. You know, if somebody's telling you what not to do, it probably didn't work for them. And some stuff, you know, you'll have to learn for yourself, because what may not have worked for me may work for you. But there are certain things that you just know. If I'm telling you, you need to be up and you need to time block and you need to read the books and you need to call your clients, like, it's not rocket science. It's hard because you have not been in this position, but it's not hard once you get in a good groove.
And then another thing I would say too is picking a niche. Sometimes people are all over the place, like, oh yeah, I want to do this and I want to do that. But while you're trying to handle all these different avenues, it's hard to figure out real estate when you're new. If you're trying to do a little bit of everything, I think
that you can pick a niche that where, you know, you definitely want to have an idea of what your ideal business looks like. But, you know, that's, somebody told me that when I first got my license way back when, and that didn't really serve me as an individual agent. I does what makes sense. I mean, I do what makes sense for me. So, you know, if it's a property that's an hour away and I got the potential to make $17,000, I'm driving.
Get in the car, baby.
I remember, Cairo, you did an inspection for me when you first started out. That route was like an hour and 30 minutes. I made $20,000. I'm not going.
When I drove to Portland. Yeah, I'm out of there.
I'm going. So, you know, you do what makes sense for your business, and don't let anybody tell you that a deal is too small when you first start selling real estate.
That's the main thing. Yeah.
Don't let nobody try to dictate how you do business, because a $30,000 client turned into 10, like no exaggeration, 10 nurses for me, from $200,000 to $500,000. So you treat all your clients with the same respect, and you don't let anybody make you feel like something is too small for you.
And to your point, I think you will kind of find your rhythm and your crowd and your clientele, because now I work with a lot of pastors, you know, like because of one particular client that I started working with, that what you do multiplies, right? Yes. So it takes a while, I think, to really find your rhythm, but it will come. You just have to be consistent.
And you have to stay up on the newest trends. We are in the social media era. Speaking of newest trends.
Oh my God.
Silent plug. Silent plug. All the realtors, you know, when you guys start doing this, I'm actually not going to do it because I don't want to mess up my headphones, but this is like one of the newest creations out. Well, maybe it's not new, but it's new for me. But these Ray-Ban Meta glasses.
She was so excited to get.
I'm so excited. I cannot wait to start showing houses and just click a button. Or actually, no. If you hold it, it starts recording, and like you could just record, and it can just make content creation a lot easier. So just make sure you stay abreast to what's going on and attending trainings that make your life easier and not, you know, work smarter, not harder.
Yeah. Manage your time. Don't let people waste your time, especially people who don't really have the money to purchase homes. But we'll get to that later. But thank you guys for tuning in.
Hopefully you got something. If it was one thing that's going to help you and your business,
it's possible. Don't let anyone tell you cannot make the money.
Good money.
Real estate. It is. You can do it. You just got to be ready to work.
That's right.
And you have to be accountable. Like, I think that's something real huge before we finish. Like, a lot of people say, oh, well, I've been trying. But if you take the time to really evaluate your business and have a real conversation with yourself, a lot of times we'll find that we aren't trying as hard as we think we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So reality checks. But thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow us on YouTube and Instagram at Sold Sistas. And I guess we're going to have a TikTok coming soon.
Yeah, we need to get that in order.
Spotify, Apple Podcasts,
Podcasts,
all the things.
iHeartRadio, Pandora. You can check us out on all your favorite podcast platforms.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right.